good.
Oh, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 3-Digit World Cup. We are here in our first finals match of the weekend here. This will be South Korea versus China. Up at the top of your screen here, this is our bottom half losers bracket matchup. 11th seeded South Korea versus the 8th seeded China. Both teams having solid runs through the tournament up until this point. China, first round of 16, clinching out against Brazil. South Korea beating Australia, then beating Sweden, eventually succumbing to Indonesia. China, unfortunately, losing out to France in the quarterfinals, being able to fight their way in another tiebreaker fashion through Japan and Country List West last weekend, making it to this weekend. I will be joined this morning by none other than Dio for this match. Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning. I am fighting a major headache this morning, but we will get through it. We will be able to view a pretty good match, I think, between these two teams. South Korea has kind of been on a tear through this tournament, despite being 11th seed, and I'm really looking forward to how they match up against a team from China, which has kind of been expected to go through the tournament very, very easily and just not have very many problems with a lot of the other teams in the tournament. They were one of the teams that we expected to come out into the top three, really, at the start of the tournament. So definitely looking forward to the rest of this matchup.
A very interesting outcome for this tournament. I think there's a lot of teams left, either, be it in the winners bracket or in the losers bracket, that some people may not have quite expected, to say the least. We are missing quite a few of those star teams from the tier list that I think a lot of people expected to be here. Namely teams like Germany, who got knocked out last week versus Brazil. Brazil, another one of those top-seeded teams that we'll be seeing a little bit later on today. I believe that is the match immediately following this one. And then, a couple of interesting winners bracket matches. Of course, our winners bracket, Hong Kong versus Indonesia. Indonesia, a team that's kind of come out of nowhere, too. So we'll see how that goes. But China fighting their way through quite a few tiebreakers here. Fresh off of a 4-digit World Cup win, with some of the same members on this team coming over from there. Of course, with the additions of players like Lolol and Crystal to the team, making this just a little bit stronger than what they had in there, that extra edge to get them to be at the 3-digit World Cup level. Of course, there's South Korea on the other side of your screen, an absolutely stellar team. They took a couple of years where, maybe they weren't looking too hot. They were kind of in those rebuilding phases. They had a really decent OWC team. They lost a lot of those star players, whether or not it be at that high range or, that tournament competitive range, and they're really starting to come back into that tournament form with a lot of this roster here. Have been looking very good. You mentioned this tournament with some very successful outcomes on their matches, of course. A couple of closer beginning stage matches, and then, of course, that loss to the winners bracket team Indonesia. But we'll be looking to see if they're able to continue that tear against China today, who hasn't really lost anything besides that really early round matchup.
Yeah, this team from China has been eliminating quite a few very good teams. Eliminated both Japan and Country List West in the semifinals. Country List West seeded top 3 out of qualifiers in this tournament, so really a super solid win for them. Also eliminating Australia from the tournament in quarterfinals in their first round of losers bracket. So a lot of very tough matchups for China in the losers bracket, and they have still managed to make it into this top 6 part of the tournament now that we are in finals. So really not a team to be underestimated. First pick for China is going to be hidden too. And they do have their roster prepped for this one as well. It's going to be Lolo235, Lolo233, and Crystal. The Chinese team also joined by Lolo234 alongside My Angel Anzu and Shizaki Kanon. Those first four members, though, Lolo233, 234, and 235 plus Crystal, really forming the backbone of this team. And you see those four or some combination of them in on 99% of maps for China, it seems like. Meanwhile, over on Korea, we have Gus Rua, worst hard rock player, and Spectre currently in for this map, notably missing the captain Doomsday Fanboy on the hidden maps alongside Pain and Tokenim sitting this one out at the start here. Looking like a very good start for China, though. Lolo233 does find a miss, but there's far more of them to be had on South Korea. Gus Rua and worst hard rock player finding several of those. Crystal does actually match the miss from one of the South Korean players, but some earlier misses during the intro section mean that there was combo advantage on China's side. Spectre currently holding the only intact combo in the lobby and still going through this map at a pretty good clip halfway through here. 93% AC, sure, but the 1/6 are going to take a toll on the AC for any of these players. Rather, the 97, 96 AC from the Lolos over on the side of China is more remarkable than anything else.
Absolutely. I think, we're starting to get to that stage in the tournament where, accuracy doesn't matter quite as much. It's really about who's able to put up those combos on these very difficult picks, especially something like our Hidden 2 here, which is proving to be quite a challenge for even the strongest of players in this lobby here. Crystal not even holding an FC, where you kind of would normally see him kind of go right through these types of maps here. David up at the top, who is Lolo235, looking pretty solid on this. You're going to see a break from Spectre finally, which is actually going to give the score lead right back over to China. The accuracy lead does make a difference when your team has a full combo advantage on every single player here. Worst HR player trying to do what he can into the ending, but China just far too strong as a team on this pick. Does actually find a three-way break at the ending, but it does not matter. Almost three-way, actually is three-way 500k on the spinner for China. Just over 1.6 million there compared to the 1.35 million for South Korea. Spectre, again, really trying to do whatever he could for his team there. Unfortunately, Gazrua and worst HR player just not quite able to, give up those backing combos that they really needed to in order to get themselves that point on the board. And China going to be picking up their first pick. It's going to be a 1-0 start in this best of 13 match. South Korea going to come in next, see if they can respond to that pick. If they can keep this match traded back and forth, China could possibly be looking at another tiebreaker here if they don't let South Korea run away from this. Of course, as we mentioned before, South Korea lasting a little bit longer in that winner's bracket than China did. Also being... of course, that matchup between the 11th seeded versus 8th seeded team. China does inherently have a seed advantage here by just a little bit. We know that doesn't always matter, as quite a few of our higher seeded teams are kind of gone. So
yep. Yeah, the only team from the top 6 actually left in the top 6 is France.
Yeah.
That's it.
And of course, it's the #1 seed. So,
yeah, I guess that checks out at the very least.
Yeah, that worked.
But yeah, it's at this point I think the seeding doesn't matter so much, especially because we are past the point where the pools are comparable to qualifiers, right? Like the finals pool is just objectively harder than qualifiers at pretty much every level, and so you're looking more so at kind of how well do the teams scale? How well can they adapt to the later stages? What kind of tournament experience do the members have when you get to these late stages? And I think those are a lot of the reasons why people were putting China as one of those top teams later on into the tournaments, especially is because of the fact that all of the core 4 members have so much high-level tournament experience and deep round tournament experience, like in finals, grand finals, that they're going to be well adjusted to scenarios like this. South Korea, meanwhile, does have, I think, more than a few players who I think a lot of people might call a little bit inexperienced at this level of tournament play. Obviously, their captain, Doomsday Fanboy, making it through the OWC team, and I think it's been a really fantastic run for them. But they are frankly the underdogs in this matchup. So I want to see how well they can do on their first pick here. Fremod 1 Chariot by Usao. Kind of an awkward low circle size, excuse me, slider aim pick here. kind of your standard high BPM USAO mapping, a little bit of that slider aim, as you can tell, and a little bit of that really awkward, overlappy sort of reading style at the same time. Pain having pain on the hard rock. Lowell233 handling the hard rock fairly well for China, but Lowell234 kind of dropping the accuracy as well alongside Pain. Gusrua on the hidden hard rock, not having as good of a time as well. Worst hard rock player, however, living up to the name with a full combo on hidden at the moment, matching the score coming out of Crystal, but it is 3 full combos from China at the moment, so only so much that Worst HR player can do for South Korea. Pain, to his credit, I think has just missed a bunch of slider ends and is still on a full combo, but the score difference is telling there.
Yeah, definitely. China really showing through with that consistency. You see a lot of teams in this tournament come out, and, it's 3-digit World Cup, so you kind of expect something, similar to the lines of OWC teams, I think, for a lot of countries in this tournament. South Korea is kind of one of those exceptions, along with teams maybe like Germany and the United States, where they do have some, similar players that may be coming over, but you're missing a lot of that top end for this South Korea team. You're missing those players like Karcher off of this team who would be absolutely pivotal to their performance in this tournament. And I think that, if you're able to find that consistency on the players that are showing up here, you may have a chance, but we're kind of seeing right now just these little breaks from Worst HR player and Gazrua here really giving away a little bit more than they bargained for. Lol 234 and 233 both with the combo drops. Crystal to hold the FC, and Pain going to be dropping his combo into the ending as well. A little bit too late here for South Korea. Again, Crystal, the consistency and the skill cap, and it shines through absolutely every single time, and there is a reason that Crystal is kind of just always going to be regarded as the best tournament player in China, because he is so consistent and so good at low star rating maps, high star rating maps, different skill sets. Whatever you need him to be in for, Crystal is there, and South Korea is going to need to find a way to respond to Crystal in this match before it becomes too late. China on the break point, going to go back into their next pick, see if they can consolidate this. South Korea yet to get themselves on the board despite that first pick.
Yeah, it's been, despite the poor accuracy from Pain, actually manages to almost pull off the full combo there. Does find a couple misses near the end, but like you said, it's just not enough. The second best score from Milk Tea going to be matched by Pain, at least from South Korea, but if they don't find somebody on the side of South Korea who can pull off consistently those high combo plays, get close to an FC basically every single time, they're not going to be able to compete with the roster from China, because when you take a look at the maps that both of these teams have played in previous weeks, you do see some places where South Korea has a really solid chance to make good inroads toward a win. I think some of the hard rocks they can do that. I think some of the free mods they can do that. I think some of the no mods they can do that. Particularly no mod 2 would be a pretty solid pick for them against this China squad. But when it comes to, even extending the no mod 2 idea of a pick into stuff like no mod 5 or DT2 or DT3, it just doesn't work. China has higher scores than South Korea on all of those speed maps from the previous weekend. And they are going to be picking into some of these DTs at the very least. Going to be double time 4 picked up by China now as their second pick. But as I was saying, they're going to need to find some inroads soon, because I think the longer this match goes on, the more the map pool is gone and already picked from, the fewer places South Korea really has to stage a comeback and to really make sure that this match doesn't get out of control for them. As China, I think, has scaled a little bit better into these later rounds. We've already seen exactly what Crystal and Milk Tea do for this China roster on the previous 2 picks.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to not see either of David and Kurumi, or both of them, in for this map on DT4. This map actually carried over, or rather not directly carried over, but is from the SAT 2022 map pool that David and Kurumi both played in, and they both had a decent time on this map. And I think maybe looking for, again, one of them, Kurumi, going to be taking that top spot for China here. Going to be big. This is kind of, I really don't even know how to describe this anymore. It's flow aim. It's 10.3. Slightly light techie, in my opinion, but this is a very rounded pick for China in terms of DT skill sets that they hold very close to them here. We've got Doomsday Fanboy, Spectre, and Pain on the side of South Korea. Doomsday Fanboy, notably a player that we haven't seen quite as much of in this match just yet, but going to be a very strong player on this map here. South Korea, as DT has one of their stronger skill sets, I think, overall, even on both of these teams here, especially these control-style DT picks here. We mentioned just a little bit of light tech maybe on these sliders here, but a lot of control required on this. And China showing already just how strong they are on this all around on the accuracy. Very strong, 99% plus for all of them. Just the one break on Pain, unfortunately, seems to be struggling for South Korea here. South Korea maybe going to be having a little bit of that third player syndrome in this match so far here, which does happen sometimes for these teams in these later stages here. But we'll see how the map continues as we get into these first few key eyes. We'll see if there's any massive breaks besides Pain. It's still a 5-way FC. Besides that, there goes Kurumi. Doomsday Fanboy trades it, so China will continue to stay with a 1 FC lead.
And the accuracy on both of their full combos is still really, really solid as well. 98 for Milk Tea, lol 233, and 98.5 for Crystal. Just not really giving an inch. Spectre's going to have to full combo probably if they want any chance of taking this breakpoint back for South Korea. But he's going to see that he is 1 versus 2 at the moment during this break, and that never really helps the nerves for any player, knowing that they have to hold or it is over. Milk Tea actually dropping the combo immediately. Almost saw the drop from Spectre on the exact same pattern there, but Crystal able to hold on. It does mean a slight combo lead for South Korea, as Doomsday Fanboy and Pain also managing to make it through that section unscathed. But a really still massive score lead for China. There goes Crystal, however. Spectre now. It is all on Spectre. If he can hold, this can't... Oh, okay, never mind. Unfortunate.
Ah, unfortunate. That could have been very good for South Korea there. Unfortunate, though, that this map is very difficult. It's very consistently difficult. These big key eyes here are relatively similar. They don't really spike in difficulty, but being able to, again, it's that tournament consistency. It's being able to do the same thing over and over again without fail. And China has Crystal, who's just, again, a little bit better than most people at doing that. Same thing with Lol. Doomsday Fanboy gonna be holding a combo into the ending there, but unfortunately, again, that early break, just at an inopportune time on this DT pick, effectively cutting his score in half. Same thing with Spectre here. And then, of course, we mentioned that third player, Pain, just not feeling too comfortable on this. A significant number of slider breaks falling in on this. About double the 100s of the highest 100 count on the player, on Kurumi from China. Only 2 misses. Again, slider break type map, but it's that consistency. And it will make me sound like a broken record, but that's what is happening right now. South Korea has their second chance now to respond with a pick to China, who has officially consolidated that first break point here. And again, with a team that's had its successes in this tournament thus far, they are going to need to put on a little bit of a show now. They're going to go immediately back into the DT pool. We'll be seeing DT2, AJT map. See what happens on the slightly higher BPM versus China on here. Of course, base 235, 236. Slightly faster than that DT4 here. Of course, China with that DT3 ban does make this look pretty good for South Korea picking into this.
Yeah, I think this can be a good pick for South Korea. There is the double time 3 ban for China. In the past couple of weekends, we've had some really kind of different double time 2s and double times 3s going through. for a lot of teams. I believe last weekend we had a relatively finger control focused double time too, and so China very, very solid on that sort of pick overall. But if you do look to Nomad 5 instead, South Korea and China both kind of struggling with that same pick within about 100,000 of each other. So I think this is one of those maps where you're looking at a comfort factor for some of these players. One big thing to note with this pick is that there really is no aim involved in this map whatsoever. It is all streams. And in fact, a lot of them are actually double tappable, as you can see right here. But pretty much instant breaks for 3 players on Spectre, Shizaki Kanon, and My Angel Anzu. We do see those 2 players swap in for the side of China. So no Crystal, no Kurumi or David on this map, which I think is also a good thing for South Korea, right? You talk about the experience at later stages of tournaments. Well, to my knowledge, My Angel Anzu and Shizaki Kanon don't have that in the type of spades that the Lolos and Crystal have it. So I do like trying to get them out of the lobby, and as of right now, okay, it's no longer working. Spectre and Gusrua unfortunately finding those breaks. Doomsday Fanboy left alone for South Korea now to stand against Milk Tea, who is just doing the job right now on 87% AC. Okay, well, there's still 2 combos on My Angel Anju and Shizaki Kanon. I think it's still China's at the moment, unfortunately, unless one of them breaks.
I mean, the second one of them breaks, it is a terrible score drop. 91% accuracy, barely 92. 92, barely 93. And then there's just Doomsday Fanboy, who's kind of going at it with way better play than everyone else in the lobby right now. Unfortunately, a quarter left in the map. Hopefully for South Korea, something comes soon. Otherwise, we're looking at another potential break point right here. Again, Doomsday Fanboy just so strong on this. You can't beat the combo game. These streams are so dense that it doesn't even matter. My Angel Anzu does find a miss, and so does Milk Tea, which actually might bring this back over to the side of South Korea here, but it's not quite enough. Shizaki Kanon going to be bringing it in at that 93% accuracy. Doomsday Fanboy just barely below 98, trying to do whatever he can. Unfortunately, the B and C rank from his teammates not quite putting up what they needed to, even just barely a better score from either of them, and South Korea would have taken this pick. But unfortunately, Shizaki Kanon, putting up an almost 1 million score. My Angel Anzu doing about 70,000 higher than the next best player, and then Milk Tea well surpassing Spectre, just creating a little bit too much of a score gap for Doomsday Fanboy to make up by himself, patting himself on the back in chat a little bit. Well done, Doomsday Fanboy.
I mean, he deserves a little pat on the back for that. Almost 98% accuracy. Everybody else in the lobby down at, 92, 93, 80% AC. So, yeah, very, very solid play from Doomsday Fanboy. I just think, again, that if you have similar things happen on Nomad 5, for example, in this pool, it's just probably not going to go as well as you would have wanted it to. And unfortunately, some of the performances from Spectre and Gusrua on that map just not up to par with what South Korea needs in order to match the scores coming out of China. And so despite the fact that you do get, David and Kurumi and Crystal all out of the lobby on the side of China, it just doesn't work out the way that you kind of want it to for South Korea. So they're going to have to find another way into this match. It is 4-0 now for China. They are just looking... They're looking like the team we expected to see in this tournament right now. They're looking like the team that we expected to make it into the top 3 in this tournament, as they currently sit 4-0 up, picking Nomad 3 next. Lost Umbrella. This is not the ranked set. This is a different set mapped by Ogi, but relatively snap aimy hybrid style, I guess you would call this. It's like kind of the same type of stuff that U-Dragon does, if that makes sense, but a little bit more slider heavy, like hybrid between snap aim, flow aim, alt. It's definitely not a Nathan map, but it's definitely not a Monstrata map. Let's put it that way. Just kind of relatively standard stuff for 2022 alt maps, I think. Not a ton else to say about this pick. Good song, also.
Very good.
Also something that China is very good at, right? They have several players on this team who can go in for this. I don't think it would be surprising to see any of the core 4 in for China on this map. And I think that's what makes this team so strong, right? Is they don't have a core 3 or a core 2. They have a core 4 players who go in on like whatever maps they feel most comfortable on, right? So you can see these players get traded out for just whichever maps they feel the most comfortable on, with the exception of stuff like Nomad 2, Nomad 5, DT2, and TT3, right? Those are the only maps where they don't really have their core players go in, and that is terrifying for any team going up against them. Doomsday Fanboy, Spectre, and Worst Hard Rock player on the other side for this pick. South Korea gonna need to find a way back into this matchup soon. It is best of 13, but being down 5-0 at the end of this pick, if China does manage to clutch out the win, is not a position you really want to be in any best of 13.
Well, I mean, it's never too late to make a comeback at this point. I feel like, unfortunately, as you were just mentioning, China, core 4 players on their team, really just a wider variety of picks that they're going to be able to put up good rosters on here. South Korea, as mentioned previously, kind of running with a little bit of that third player deficit here. 3v3 tournament, you really do need, you know, maybe a 4 or 5 player roster that is able to do super well on maps in order to make it confidently through these beginning stages here. Doomsday Fanboy does find a little bit of an overaim at the beginning of the map, but so does David. So we are going to be seeing a little bit of cursor dancing actually from David here, just to get himself back onto into the swing of things here. But it's 2 FCs to 2 right now. Accuracy is of course going to be relatively high as we finally hit our first key eye here after a quarter of the map passes here. Any break in this section is now going to be where this matters. It's really going to be relatively similar between these two teams here. The accuracies will be very high, very comfortable BPM for these players. It's basically just, again, these aim patterns here. You really have got to make sure that you keep track of where you're putting your cursor. Spectre, unfortunately, going to be losing track of it and losing the FC because of it. It is now, once again, that similar pattern that we've been seeing. The initial break from both teams, and then the Crystal Milk Tea special on China, holding that double FC. South Korea only responding with 1. Worst HR player is going to try and do his best. He's certainly FC'd harder maps than this, so full potential to put up at least 1 score here for South Korea, but Doomsday Fanboy really has to hold David off right now for them to even have a chance in this. Oh my god,
wow.
There's no
way. They both missed on
that?
My god,
both slider broke on that.
Wow, okay, well.
Wow.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really change anything about the state of the match overall. It's kind of funny, but it doesn't really change anything. Oh, that changes things.
Oh.
Spectre and Doomsday Fanboy both dropping there and leaving Forum as the only player left alive on South Korea. The accuracy for worst HR player, by the way, is just kind of ridiculous. 1/100, I think that play is.
It's good.
But unfortunately, Milk Tea and Crystal both FCing with pretty similar accuracy, all things considered. 99.75 for Crystal and 99.6 AC for Milk Tea on this one. And again, it's a case of, you know, you have a player who can put up the same type of performance as either Crystal or Milk Tea on this map, which looks to be shaping up to be a bit easier than some of the other picks we've seen from both of these teams, or rather, these teams seem to be way better at this map than some of the other picks that we've seen so far. But unfortunately, 1 player is just not enough on China's own pick, and you kind of need a second player who can put up the same type of performance. Unfortunately, both Doomsday Fanboy and Spectre going to end around that 400 to 500K mark as the entirety of South Korea misses right before the umbrella. Lolol and Milk Tea. Lolol and Crystal going to be finishing it out with the full combos there. 5 identical accuracy from them as well. You were saying about consistency, Chillier. You were saying about consistency as they both drop exactly 5 100s on this map.
Worst HR player too, man. That's tragic at the ending. 1/100 on this map is crazy. I don't know. I just don't like what can you possibly do if you're South Korea on this? Basically, China just came in on this map and David basically said, look, guys, I got this. Misses are mine, you 2 FC. Unfortunately, South Korea took the strategy of splitting up their misses across 3 players. And you know, again, it's the team consistency. It's overall having players that can come out here, perform time and time again. Worst HR player really tried to do whatever he could on that pick to try and keep South Korea into that. And unfortunately, once again, China going to be putting up the special and throwing out more FCs on this finals pool. And South Korea now very much running out of opportunities in this match. So much so that they are down to their last possible pick. They're going to go for the Nomad 2. They're going to basically go as consistency as you can get in this pool with the exception of Nomad 1 here. This is raw skill test, basically. Nomad 2 is, can you stream 200 BPM? Can you aim these, you know, chemo streams here? And you know, can you do it more than one time in a row? You know these players have practiced this map pool. You know that they know exactly what's in store for them on a map like this. And we do also know that South Korea's maybe a little bit stronger on streams than China is. China doesn't really have any stream player that sticks out to me too much at this BPM, honestly. You know, Crystal starts to lose a little bit of consistency at higher BPMs. 200 BPM still should be relatively comfortable for him, but this BPM does start to be, you know, a little high. Unfortunately, Kurumi, I think, would be a very good player on this map. Hasn't been feeling too good today, in his own words from Twitch chat. You're going to see Milk Tea in once again, of course, and then there's Shizaki Kanon going to be taking that third spot. Interesting to see what Milk Tea is going to be able to do for his team on this one. A strong all-round player on basically whatever you need him to be. But this South Korea roster with Doomsday Fanboy and Pain and Spectre, actually, all three of them very strong stream players. If they do win this, I will be a little bit curious as to why they left it so late.
I think they left it so late because this seems like the only guaranteed point for South Korea in this matchup.
Saving momentum for later, I see.
Saving the best for last, as it goes. Last weekend, China dropped the second to lowest score on Nomad 2, and South Korea had the number 4 out of 10 scores on Nomad 2. They very clearly have a solid advantage on this. Again, any map where you can get at least one of those core players out of the lobby for China is probably a better map for you than the majority of others that you see. And that's been the case, right? Double Time 2 was fairly close. We see Shizaki Kanon in for this map rather than one of the Lolos or... Well, yeah, rather than one of the other Lolos at this point, since Crystal is still in the lobby here. Unfortunately, an early break for Spectre, but they have had Spectre come back on these Nomad 2s and put up fantastic scores here. Pain dropping alongside Crystal and Shizaki Kanon as Milk Tea, Lolo233, holds on to the only full combo for China. Pretty much the same accuracy as Doomsday Fanboy at this point. 1 FC for each side. Now that Spectre has dropped that reverse choke, it really is very, very close in terms of the combo. Still an advantage at this point for China, however, especially in terms of accuracy. You see the... Oh, there goes Milk Tea's full combo, actually. Now Doomsday Fanboy, the only FC left up in the lobby. The stream aim in this pick is just brutal. So much XL and decel in these streams that makes it so difficult to hold on properly. And there goes Doomsday Fanboy, but some of that damage is already done, and this is maybe the first time we've seen a decisive score lead for South Korea at any point throughout this match, which really just goes to show, and not that South Korea is a poorly put together team, but just how ridiculously well China has scaled into these later stages.
Yeah, this is, again, a testament to the experience of a lot of these players. They've been around for just so much longer than most people in this community playing tournaments actively. It makes it hard to surpass them in terms of the amount of time that they have put in for this type of thing. So makes it a little bit of an interesting scenario when even the strongest teams are falling to players that might not necessarily have the same skill count. South Korea going to finally get themselves on the board on the stream pick here. Unfortunately, on the back of Doomsday Fanboy putting up a very impressive score. Lol, unfortunately, finding a little bit of an earlier break than he might have wanted to there. And then, of course, you mentioned Shizaki Kanon and Crystal not their strongest of skill sets, especially on the Chinese team as a whole, really don't have quite as much stream consistency as South Korea. Very close on Spectre and Pain to the highest 2 scores on the Chinese team. And then, I don't know, I think South Korea really just needs to pick into whatever Doomsday Fanboy is good at this point, because he seems to be the player who is finding the most consistently high scores on that team right now. It's going to be Hard Rock too, though. It's going to be the Camellia featuring Nanahira, Fisky map in Hard Rock. Yeah, you heard me right, a Fisky map in Hard Rock. If that stands as testament to how difficult this map is, then I don't know what else does.
But actually, it's a YFBMP map.
It's a Fisky set, which means it's a Fisky map. Don't at me. Don't at me.
I don't have to. I'm in voice chat with you. No. But yeah, this map is hard. Is what I would say about this map is that it's really hard, and that there's a lot of places that players will break on, and that it's truly a difficult pick, and that it tests the limits of a lot of players on tech, and that it's a true test of skill, and that it's very hard, and that it's very difficult. That's what I have to say about this map. Any thoughts, Chillier? I don't know.
Map hard.
Map hard. That's
hard.
That's what I have to say about this one, guys. Yeah. That's my in-depth OWC caster analysis for this
map. Is the amount of preparation we
really
do at 10 a.m.
No, I mean, I was there for the showcase, though. This is a really, really difficult kind of alti tech map. The reason I say it's really, really hard is that the slot in general is just very, very tricky sorts of maps, and that it is going to be very difficult for a lot of players to hold on to any kind of consistent combo between slider aim and high spacing, patterny alt stuff.
Yeah. Worst HR player actually just over-aimed that entire linear stream, unfortunately. Before he actually found that break, I was actually about to say that worst HR player is in fact not the worst HR player, but we'll give it a little bit maybe. Pain having a little bit more trouble. It's going to be the first 2 breaks on China. Doomsday Fanboy versus David already. David, a strong Hard Rock player, but does find a slider break. Unfortunately, it's going to be Doomsday Fanboy on the combo, along with worst HR player who finds another Buzz slider break. God help everyone on this map. That's kind of the hard part of this, even if you're a proficient Hard Rock player, these Buzz sliders at OD10, you really don't have a lot of room for error, especially on Score V2 as well. You do take that 50 on every slider break that you get to, which does tank your accuracy as well. Doomsday Fanboy looking pretty good on the accuracy overall as well. Not quite as high as Milk Tea, but still kind of up there. Pain able to recover a little bit of combo along with worst HR player. It's going to be David finding one more break, but Doomsday Fanboy drops the FC. Not the end of the world. Milk Tea and Kurumi are being matched by Pain and worst HR player, but it is going to go back fairly quickly with the accuracy deficit on the South Korean side. But as long as David keeps finding breaks, it really might stay fairly in the middle here. Another linear stream. Worst HR player doesn't find a break on that one. It's going to be so close. David continuing to miss as the score lead now goes back over, but worst HR player breaks. Oh, goodness. This is going to be right. But double break.
Korea breaks. Korea breaks also. Oh, my God. It actually stays on the side of South Korea.
They saved it at the end, but the double break on China.
Double break at the end for both Lolos there. Well, wait, there's actually 3 Lolos. Hold on. For 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5. Yeah, wow. That actually saved it for South Korea. Pain, Doomsday Fanboy, and worst Hard Rock player putting in work at various points throughout that map. Pain and Doomsday Fanboy with the highest scores on their side. Milk Tea almost managing to drag China over the finish line on that map, but just not quite enough. 670k S rank with 96.7% AC. That's a score and a half from Milk Tea. Unfortunately, just not quite enough to get them where they needed to be, as the overall team consistency from South Korea just a little bit better on that pick. And the Hard Rocks in general is kind of where you want to see South Korea pick into at this point. They are going to go with Fremont 3, however, as they know something that I don't as a caster, obviously. Never know what the team sheet says. Out of Order by Takanashi Yasuharu is now the pick for South Korea on this map pool. This is the anti-mod pick. This is the CS5 AR8 pick in free mod. And this was originally in the Course Ace Open 2021 finals in free mod 3 also. So yeah, very hard map. Finds its way here into the 3-digit World Cup finals in, I think, a pool that overall is a little bit easier than the Course Ace Open finals 2021 pool, which does say something about just how difficult this pick is lined up to be. I think you're expecting kind of similar scores as the last map, despite the fact that this is a relatively consistency-focused pick. A lot of awkward aim and weird streams in this map. One thing to note about the free mod rules in this tournament is that you can just pick 2 mods. You don't have to have 2 unique mods. You can just pick any 2 mods for any 2 players, and you are good. So both teams this time around choosing double Hard Rock. Worst HR player not going the Hard Rock for South Korea. It's Doomsday Fanboy and Pain taking HR for South Korea. Crystal and Lolo234, that would be Kurumi for those of you keeping track, taking Hard Rock for China. And Lolo235, also known as David, going the no mod for China on this map.
Gonna be a solid set of mods for both of these teams. You're not too surprised at the Hard Rocks on both sides here. Yeah, I wouldn't have been surprised to see a Hidden come out on the China side as well, but you know, I guess the Hard Rock's just a little bit more comfortable on the CS 6.5 right now. We have those no mod players. Basically, whoever you want to come into this match and put up a guaranteed FC is who you're running the no mod on right now. And this is kind of the thing that Worst HR player and David are just really good at low AR stuff, and both of them are having a pretty solid time here. Unfortunately, both Hard Rock players on China finding quite a few breaks right here. Crystal and Kurumi not having the best of time on the combos here. Doomsday Fanboy continuing to be that high-performing player at skill cap maps. Does find a break as I say that, however, not before putting up 500k, which is basically better than Crystal and Kurumi combined. Worst HR player is going to be matching David right now, and Pain just putting up enough combo to match Crystal and put a little bit over here. And with a map that's only 1 minute and 51 seconds, there's not too much time left here for China to be able to put up some score here with a 300,000 score lead here. Doomsday Fanboy going to find one more break. I don't think it's going to matter with this score gap right here as we come into the ending. Worst HR player and David matching each other is all that matters right now. And there we go, the double FC from both of them into the ending. Very impressive plays. Worst HR player seems pretty happy about that big spin at the end. And that's going to be the 3rd point in a row for South Korea on the board here, being down quite a bit. We mentioned that it was certainly not impossible to make a comeback, and they're making it look pretty easy right now, winning these past few picks fairly handily with the exception of the last one with the double break. But that is going to be, in a much more successful fashion, a scoreline that I think we were expecting to see in this match here. It's going to be China's pick now. See if they can maybe get their own point to force match point. It is not a guaranteed tiebreaker for them just yet. South Korea, if they can pull up just one more break point, they are going to be in a much more confident spot.
Man, this guy should just change his name to Best Hard Rock Player. Doomsday Fanboy, you kind of called it earlier, has just been popping off this whole match, and I think South Korea has finally started to lean into him a little bit. You know, just pick maps that he's good at and let him pop off. You do need kind of one other player to match one of the performances from China, but these last couple picks, they have had that somebody to put up similar scores as either the high performers from the Chinese squad or from Doomsday Fanboy himself. So it's been working out on these last few picks for South Korea, and you love to see it. The Nomad 2 pick, followed by the breakpoint on Hard Rock 2, and now followed by Fremod 3. So really looking for other stuff that's streamy, other stuff that's awkward, and other stuff that's in Hard Rock. And I think you're kind of looking at Hard Rock 3 as maybe a potential next pick for South Korea. China, on the other hand, not picking Hard Rock 3 after what happened on Hard Rock 2. I can tell you that much. As the Hard Rock 3 this weekend, certainly not as slider heavy as something like Yuri Zero last weekend, but still fairly awkward overall. Hidden One, however, making a lot more sense for China. Yeah. Amanita by Marmalade Butcher. This is an AR9 hidden version of Amanita. It is not the Devious Panda collab set, obviously. It is a different set mapped by Expo posts instead.
AR9 supremacy.
Yeah. South Korea's team, if you have not noticed, is not super enthusiastic about the hidden modification in general.
They're short on hidden players a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And so this pick makes a lot of sense from China to just force a match point and be done with it, or be as done with it as you can get. I think they're probably saving No Mod 4 as a last pick for China, and South Korea should probably know that also, given the pick pattern for China so far. You're just expecting them to go into other techie, gimmicky types of things, and that is exactly what No Mod 4 is. I don't think you chance free mod if you are China, given that South Korea has picked 2 of them already, so yeah, I think that's where we're at this point. China looking to get that match point like you were talking about with this hidden 1 pick, and at the very least end off the match on their own next pick. Let's see whether they're able to do so. We've got some fairly solid rosters for both teams on this map. Spectre and Merce Hard Rock player going in for this hidden map. No surprises there. Gasrua joining them. My Angel Anzu joining in for China on this map. And joining the wrong map as well. You love to see it.
You love to see it.
From the tournament client. That's my favorite one. But yeah, Crystal and David, the rest of the roster for China.
All right, there we go. We have returned to the actual map. It is time. All right, let's see what happens on this one. The hidden picks went very well for China earlier. Expecting something similar to make its appearance on this pick here with some early breaks from both teams. Not going to matter too much in that first bit of combo here. Really only 50 or 60 missing from all players who found a break here. A minimal score lead, as there will most certainly be more breaks in this map. 3 minutes and 25 seconds. I don't anticipate seeing more than maybe 1 or 2 FCs on this map if people absolutely send it.
I anticipate exactly 0 full combos on this map.
Yeah, I don't actually think there's not going to be anything. This map is very difficult. But we'll see how it goes. Spectre Crystal trading out a break there. That does actually work in the favor of South Korea just a little bit, because My Angel Anzu is that early break for China here, so we're maintaining that 1 FC to 1 break. Spectre, however, finding a couple extra misses there, not going to be doing him too many favors. But a long map, I digress. It's going to be a little bit before we see a significant score gap appear here, unless one of these big FCs breaks sometime soon. I don't anticipate that happening much before halfway here, as this map does tend to spike a little bit more after that first half. They're just going at it right now. I don't know. There's not much to say at the beginning of this map. It's a very consistent start to this map with the patterning here, but it's the sending part that starts to get a little bit more difficult. Now is when you're going to start seeing some big breaks. There goes My Angel Anzu and Gazrua immediately, as we see, again, just past halfway, Spectre having some trouble too. It's 1 FC to 1 right now, but Crystal with the big combo, and there goes the last FC on South Korea. China just, what is David doing right now?
What is David doing?
David.
What are David and Crystal doing? David has 99% accuracy, by the way, on this full combo.
Sir.
Yeah, that's a really good score.
Please. I beg of you. I mean, there's like 1 more hard section, and then he's made it. It's like right here, too. Let's see. Makes it through the first set of streams here. A little bit on the sliders. Nothing crazy. We've got some big jumps right here that are coming in after the wiggles. Nothing. No slider breaks. No 100s. No misses here. Cursor is snappy as ever. I'm waiting to see, like, the stupid...
Oh my! How does he miss on that? How does he miss on that pattern?
I'm waiting
of
to see
all
the
things?
stupidest break ever, I say. Oh my!
Oh man!
He just over aims. That's how
wow.
it happens.
That is a little sad for David. It had to come at some point, though, right? No way we see the full combo on that accuracy. It was already a sick. By the way, it was already a sick play from David.
If you were FCing, you lost that ending. You lost.
Yeah. 650k regardless, though, for David. 500k from Crystal. Just a win across the board, member for member, for China there. Their members from best to worst scores outscoring each of the best to worst scores on South Korea, and that is how you win by about 300,000 score there for China on their probably second to last pick at this point. The hidden one pick going expectedly well for them, right? We did expect this win to happen for China on this pick. South Korea probably having a much better chance on something like the Nomad 4, which we anticipate as the next pick for China. At least I do. But this Hard Rock 3 pick making a lot of sense for South Korea. They've had very, very solid performances on the Hard Rock all throughout the match. They already took a break point on Hard Rock 2 and were able to start up the comeback. That was their second point, was a break point on Hard Rock 2. So let's see if they can do something similar here. Raijin no Hidari Yude, the Hard Rock 3 high circle size pick. This map a little bit different of a map than your sort of classic super old set of this map. I forget who that's mapped by. Angel Honey. Than the very, very different from the classic Angel Honey set of this map. Obviously CS5, but also containing some 1-6 bursts and still more awkward aim than the Angel Honey set, which really says something about just how awkward this map actually is to play.
Yeah, I don't think I could have said it any. You could have said it any better. I don't know. This map is just. This map is so favored towards players who are Hard Rock players. Like, and I know that sounds weird because it's a Hard Rock pick, but you need to be so proficient in your Hard Rock aim control and precision and even consistency. It's only 1 minute and 51 seconds, but if you're not able to consistently put your cursor where it needs to go for 2 minutes, which feels like an eternity at this BPM, honestly, you're going to have a bad time at this. Fortunately for South Korea, they've got Doomsday Fanboy on their team, who has been kind of proving himself as the single best Hard Rock player in this lobby today so far. Worst HR player has put up some good Hard Rock scores before. You know, not as much of a testament to his name as people would think is actually, again, I said I wouldn't say it earlier, but a pretty good Hard Rock player. You know, Payne unfortunately had the most trouble out of their roster on all the previous Hard Rock picks, so hopefully he's able to make a bit of an improvement here. But it's an early double break from South Korea to start off.
Yeah, worst HR player breaking on the first 1-6 burst. Payne finding another break on one of those 1-6. So just Doomsday Fanboy left alive with a full combo. We'll call it that. We do see a traded break from Lowell233 on the side of China, but still higher combo for Milk Tea than any of the players on South Korea that are not named Doomsday Fanboy. Lowell234 and Crystal also on full combos for China at the moment. So very solid scores coming out of China at the moment. We're going to need to see a break on some of the awkward aim probably from these members from China in order to get a break to come out at all. Doomsday Fanboy barely clutching that out and keeping the full combo together. But unfortunately, it's Payne who finds the miss from South Korea instead.
Called it.
Crystal does find the miss. Crystal does find the miss. Unfortunately, though, there's just higher combo on China still. Lolo233 out-comboing worst Hard Rock player, and there needs to be a drop from either Kurumi or Milk Tea right now if South Korea.
Right now. 3, 2, well, all right.
No.
Unlucky. Oh, but Kurumi does find a break. Don't worry. China traded the miss, guys. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for South Korea. This is going to be the end. Milk Tea held for just long enough. Worst HR player doesn't have enough time here. And that is going to be it. China in a official victory of 7-3, very handedly defeating South Korea, the team who had a slightly better run in the winner's bracket, but the higher seeded team does prevail. Technically, the underdog team does not win today. China continuing to maintain their consistency, their strong performance across the board with a very strong overall performance on this map here. And we will be seeing them advance to their next matchup of the weekend, which I believe is against the winner of France versus Brazil. That match will, that match will take place tomorrow at 16 UTC. But congratulations to China. Very, very strong win.
Very strong win indeed. They had a super solid overall performance in this match. I mean, from the very beginning, it looked like they were in control, like they knew exactly what the plan was, and like they had the members to back it up. We talked a lot about kind of their core 4 members doing the job for China throughout that match, and I expect to see them continue to do similar types of things against the winner of France versus Brazil. That matchup actually happening today at 17 UTC. That is about 2 hours from now, for those of you unfamiliar with UTC time. It is currently 15 UTC, so about 2 hours from now, we're going to be loading up our next matchup in the losers bracket here. That'll be France versus Brazil, the winner of that match going on to face China in the losers bracket. For now, we say goodbye to South Korea, and thank you for playing in the 3-digit World Cup. Congratulations to them on a top 6 finish, and congratulations to China for advancing into the top 4 at the very least. Still a shot at the top 3 for China if they manage to make it through their next match. We'll see who they face off against after this next one between France and Brazil at 17 UTC. Be there or be square. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all then.